Steve and Jill here.
Hi.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Steve and Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from gorgeous Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about planning for your last acquisition. The heck does that mean?
Sounds kind of sad.
The gist of it is this. You want to have control over the end of all this, not have it control over you.
I like that.
So, it's something that they teach in business school, and it's conventional wisdom for everybody who ever buys a company.
Right.
Or buys an apartment building, but it's something that it's worth discussing here, for sure. Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free.
Joe asks, for those of you who create financial forecasts or annual operating plans.
That would be me.
Right. That would not be me. What time frame do you use for estimated days on market on acquired properties? I realize the logical question I will receive is, how long has it taken you to sell your land in the past? Well, 90 days seems reasonable. I'd love to hear the average time it takes other members to sell their land, and if they forecast a more conservative time frame. Thanks.
I run it. This is a good question.
Yeah.
I run it where I can input it.
What does that mean?
So I run all of our forecasts. If you've ever watched any of our education or seen a live event, you know I'm constantly in Excel running if-then scenarios. So I run it at 30, I run it at 60, and I run it at 90. I don't take it past 90. If you have a property that doesn't sell and it takes longer than 90 days, and we've all had them. Right. I'm just saying, if this is the norm for you, there's something wrong.
Something bigger.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're pricing them too high. Or
you're not the right people aren't getting to know them, or you're buying really bad property, or there's just some kind of flaw. Right. So for houses, it should be cash in, cash out, 30 days.
Right.
In this market, that'll change. But houses 30 days, info lots 45, rural vacant land 60. And then I would,
depending how big it is,
run a worst case. Yeah. Run a worst case at 90 days. But
dollar amounts, dollar amounts and size.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If you're running an eBay operation where you're just $1 no reserve auctions,
30 max.
Yeah, 30 max, and then 30 max with a rescission rate of probably 50%, 40 to 50% don't pay, so you have to run it again. So I would probably run 60 days on that.
That's true.
But it's really the fact that you're even looking at it tells me a lot.
Talk about big picture.
Vast majority of people.
This is your business, obviously, or about to be your business, and I love hearing that. It's not a hobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
Financial forecasting is imperative. It actually ties into our topic today. I hope that answers it.
I think it does.
Today's topic is plan for your last acquisition. This is the meat of the show. So, you're chugging along. The first year you buy 20, 30 properties, 10 properties. The next year you buy, I don't know, a lot more. And within some time in the first 5 years, you find a niche that you just love by, let's say, solving deceased owners' heir. Bless you. That's a fantastic on-screen sneeze. I think that's Jill's opinion of this topic today.
I'm allergic to it.
I sneeze on this topic.
I'm allergic to the last of anything.
And financial forecasting, for sure.
Exactly. Totally allergic to that. Okay.
Just one sneeze there?
Yeah, that was it. I felt it. I don't even see my. If you're watching me, I don't know if you watch my gaze shift. I'm like, here it comes. Please don't let it. Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it's healthy to hold it sneezing like that.
Well, I can't just. I would deafen everyone if I really. I'm not that loud, but.
I say let it out.
I know, but I don't want to. For people with their earbuds in, I don't want to deafen them.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay. We have a hard limiter on this, so that wouldn't happen.
Okay. Ooh, hard limiter. Please talk more audio technical terms to me. That's awesome. What else do you have on this?
I have a bleep button.
Oh, it's good. Okay, good.
You want a plan. Is this the meat of the show? Is that right?
Yeah, it is. That's really where we are.
You're chugging along and you found your niche, or, now you've got 3, 4, 5 lines of revenue, and you've institutionalized this thing, and you're saving money and you're creating equity in the whole thing. You want to, in your head, have this conversation about when it's going to end, or who you're going to hand it off to, or, best case, if you're going to sell the whole operation. These little entities that we build are not the best sell it online as a business entities unless you kind of provide some other services. So, and that's not bad. That's not a bad thing. Maybe you want to teach some other people how to do it, that are close to you, like kids or people who take an interest in it. But what you really want to do, and this is the whole point here, is plan for some type of exit and ask yourself when your last acquisition is. Believe it or not, in my head, we are winding down our acquisitions we're picking the best type of property, and we're winding down the rest.
News to me.
But this is new to you, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Here's why.
We don't talk much.
We're getting tremendous requests to be a lender. And so while we will not seek out our types of acquisition, our acquisition criteria is changing. Let's just put it that way. We will absolutely be involved in helping other people in our group, specifically in House Academy when we release it early next year, help them secure financing or actually be the person who finances a deal for them and take a small percentage. So are we stopping acquisitions efforts? No, not really.
Everybody, my whole staff is like, phew, just kidding. What am I going to do?
But we're really actively going to take the existing resources that we have and help our members buy property for themselves and charge a percentage for it.
So I'm assuming that was the point of the show today. Is you will find yourself maybe being done with this piece of the business and moving on to something else. One of the things I thought of another one that we've explored that again might come back to fruition is it's being a title company. We looked at doing title work and escrow closings and things like that for our members and the public. So
exactly,
there's a lot of things like that too. That I just one. That's the first one that came to my mind. So as you transition from what you're doing to that might be a more your next business step,
right?
And that's a good business to be in.
We've got a member who's pretty vocal on the Thursday call, and he tells a story about finding this guy in one of the middle states in the country who's been accumulating. It's been his hobby his whole life. He's in his 90s, accumulating all this property, and now he's got a ton of it. And he's working with this specific member to sell it. So he's obviously he's done his last acquisition, let's say, and now he's selling it all. What you're going to find throughout your career is that you buy a property and then you sell it, and then you buy like 6, and you sell 5 of them. You accumulate property, right? So this whole time you have a balance of cash and a value of land, and at some point you just have too much land. Jill and I are constantly in a state of there's always these straggling properties, and this, so you want to plan for all of that. You want to really make the push that's required for the existing property that's laying around, collecting taxes, essentially property taxes.
Exactly.
Get rid of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's my whole point. Just plan for it. Don't let it I don't know. What's a good example of not finishing something you start that we all do? I don't know what. Art projects or child rearing. I don't know.
You know what? Don't let it be that. You know what it is? There's always something in the garage under a tarp. Yeah. I see people do that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, he was going to build me this. Or we were, see that, I know the fence is half done over here.
Finish this.
Exactly.
It's worth finishing.
So, what's funny, it made me think of this gentleman. What's so funny, it made me think of this buyer that I had years ago, the seller actually, who called me up, and it's so funny because he's like, I've been in the business you've been in. He told me, he's like, I've been in this business, for 50 years. He goes, I keep thinking I'm done. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And he's not done. So his efforts that he put out there, his feelers, would still yield property in, and so he's still selling property.
Yeah.
It's so funny. He's like, I'm really not trying to do this, but how can I turn down these deals? And so that was my first thought when you said your last acquisition. I'm like, I personally see us like that gentleman. It's always going to be hard.
Some version of it.
Right. I don't see us, I'm a never say never believer, because I could see us 10 years from now, something's going to land in our lap, or we're going to both look at each other and go, we have to buy this, because there's no work involved. We know no one else can do this but us.
Jill and I are famous for saying, you have to write that book. We're sitting around talking about stuff, so maybe it's not acquisitions that'll happen so much as much, but the other things that surround the business and all of that.
Right.
Like the Atlantic Academy is a great example.
Right. There's funny.
Tons and tons of stuff to do. And here's my last point. You want to have a number, a bank account number in your head where you start to make these types of decisions. You have to have a mental point in your head where to stop. Maybe it's $50 million. Maybe it's $100 million. Otherwise, you'll just burn yourself out.
It's true.
Chasing your own tail.
It's true.
The other thing that's real beneficial for that is you can take that number, the add after tax number, by the way, and divide by the number of years you want until you want to retire. And so then you're going to, and we do this in a live event. Mm-hmm. If you've got 30 years to retire, or in some cases, there's these real young kids come in.
Yeah, they got a long time.
60 years to retire, 50 years to retire. That number, the deals you need to do per year, and then break it down per month, are tiny.
Exactly.
So it makes it, what's that silly saying about eating an elephant? How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Yeah, one bite at a time. So
right.
that's my whole point here, is have an end point in mind right when you start, like a marriage.
You always have to do that. Why do you have to do that?
I don't know. I don't know why.
If it's the people, I wonder if someone who's listening to the show the very first time thinks like, wow, is that a good relationship or a not good relationship? What's a great relationship?
I hope
you want them to think
absolutely.
That? Why?
Because here's why. I'm really going to answer this.
I'm going to ask you on the spot, on camera.
Here's a great story about why I love this crap.
Are you pointing to me this
Jill
crap?
and I are sitting at the yacht club about 6 or 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And I say some crap just like that to Jill, just like what I just said. And this woman swings her thing around and says, well, I guess we know where you're sleeping tonight. And I said, listen, I know exactly where I'm going to sleep tonight.
I know.
Jill and I live on one lot with 2 houses. And, most of the time we absolutely live in the same house. But there are times in every person's relationship where maybe taking a little short break like that on site is appropriate.
But it usually doesn't happen.
And I don't decide that. Jill does. 99% of the time.
I thought you were going that because I'm sure whatever it was, that might have been inappropriate for her, which I'm very used to at this point.
That's my point.
So it was like, no, that's nothing.
So my point is, that's right. Yeah. So if as a listener to this show, that kind of stuff offends you, you better I wonder what's going on in your relationship. If you can't take a little bit of ribbing like that.
I know.
That's not good.
I know. Thank you.
Go get your hair done and put your helmet on. That's why I have to constantly push the limits, and so do you.
Thank you. How do I push the limits?
Oh, geez.
I'm right now regretting that I asked that question. Can I take it back? Can I retract?
Yes.
Okay. I think that was perfect, and I think we covered the topic excellently.
Well, you've done it again. You spent another 15 minutes or so listening to the Land Academy show. Join us next time where we talk about working with your wife.
I didn't know that was coming up. Oh, no.
And it promises to be a good show next week.
No.
The show after that's working with your husband.
Oh,
so you'll have a chance.
no.
It'll be equal.
Oh, this is going to be good. And we answer your questions posted on our free online community, landinvestors.com.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
Okay, I have to disclose the truth here. I really don't often take the time to look ahead at the shows. I'm kind of...
Often?
Okay, ever.
Jill sits
Rarely.
down with a tube of lipstick before the show and says, okay, what's going on today? All the production work and stuff's already done. She's just an actress, you know?
I'm not an actress. I wish I was an actress. Thank you. No, actually, I don't wish I was an actress. I love what I do right now. I know. Right.
I do all the hard work.
Thanks. But until this moment, I did not know what Monday's show's about. I think it's going to be Monday, so that's going to be fun, man. I'm actually now looking forward to that myself. I got to be ready. Oh boy. Share the fun by subscribing on iTunes or wherever you're listening. And if you're watching, you are probably found us on YouTube. So wherever you are, please rate us there. We are Steve and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.